Thank you, Eurasia Research Group, for having me here today as a keynote speaker. So my name is Reese Wong, and I'm based here in Hong Kong, and I am the founder of ISSIA HK, a youth-led nonprofit based here in the Asia Pacific, where we aim to advance global citizenship education for peer-to-peer and project-based learning. So my story of ISSIA HK started around 3 years ago, where I found myself to be a very academically oriented student. But I found myself writing essay after essay, assignment after assignment, and I felt boxed in, and I felt that I wasn't given ownership over my own learning journey, and I wanted to change that. So I did an internship at a mental health charity, and that experience taught me all about mental health, but it also taught me about the power of peer-to-peer and project-based learning. That is the power of learning by doing. It also taught me about this whole world of social impact and how we can leverage these projects and our skills for the social good. So that's a bit about me, but today I'll be talking about my venture, ISSIA HK, but also more broadly, how young people are creating innovative solutions for the Sustainable Development Goals more broadly. So firstly, what are the Sustainable Development Goals, right? So the Sustainable Development Goals were devised by the UN back in 2015 as a roadmap for humanity. And by 2030, that is the time at which we should have achieved all 17 of these goals. And within each of these goals, there are various metrics and measures and targets that we are supposed to reach. So these goals, they capture a wide range of social and global issues, ranging from quality education to gender equality, to clean water and sanitation, to peace, justice, and strong institutions, to all the way to climate change. And we've seen that the SDGs are a great framework for helping us conceptualize where we should be heading towards as a global community. However, as a result of the pandemic, we have seen years and years of progress towards the SDGs being undone. We've seen that there is a bigger gap in education accessibility, greater than ever before. We've seen increasing inequality, be it access to vaccines, be it access to clean energy, be it access to quality healthcare services. And we see this as a big problem. However, we've seen, especially in the last few years, the emergence of a generation of young change makers, meaning young people who take action, who build a team, who volunteer, young people who basically create change in their communities and beyond. And we think that as a global community, we should be doing more to support these young people to help them scale their innovative solutions, because their contributions, although often undervalued, will be pivotal towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. So again, back to my story with ISSIA HK. As I said, we observed two big problems. One is that education as is, globally speaking, simply isn't keeping up. That is because the world is constantly changing. There are new demands in terms of the skills we need, in terms of the knowledge we need. We see that this rapid change in 21st century needs means that education, if it doesn't keep up, fails to prepare us for the future of work and for the future of a sustainable world. We think that young people truly require a global and social consciousness in order to operate in an environment that's increasingly ethically complex, and a world that is, again, constantly changing. And with COVID, we've also seen young people face an unprecedented skills gap. Again, they are not necessarily prepared for the future of work. So here at ISSIA, our solution for the SDGs, as one case study out of many, is that we provide a different kind of education, one that is peer-to-peer and project-based, meaning peer-to-peer being between and amongst youths of similar ages, project-based meaning we actually allow them to devise a project, ideate a project, and see it from start to finish, and even scaling it and taking it to the next level. Again, all around the SDGs. So we see that this gives students agency over their own learning journeys. And again, we do this through two ways. One is information empowerment. We believe that before you're able to create change, you need to have the knowledge to be able to really target it and create a solution, right? So we do this through our multimedia projects, be it through magazines, talking about a wide range of global issues, be it a docu-series we did on LGBTQ+ rights, be it to our podcasts and more. On the other hand, all of our work, and this is a very important aspect of our work, is this idea of peer-to-peer project-based learning, where young people can come up with events, campaigns, and all sorts of initiatives where they become project managers, convening teams of teams, and basically scale it and execute it from start to finish. And so over the past 3 years, we've involved over 300 aspiring change makers across 70 schools here in the Asia Pacific, and we've launched more than 30 projects across SDG 4, quality education, SDG 8, decent work and economic growth, and SDG 17, partnership for the goals. So as you can see here, this is one of our magazines, and everything you see here is designed for youth and by youth. So all the way from the cover, all the way from the magazine, the illustrations, all the articles, all created in this youth-led and youth-operated space. And this is one but countless examples of how young people are leveraging their talents for the social good and for the sustainable development goals. And in the process, building the skills they need for the future work, be it project management, be it editorial skills, research skills, digital art, for example. So you can see more of this work on ISSIAmagazine.com, which is our digital publication, or you can find our magazines online, ISSIA Magazine, for example, edition 1 or edition 2. Other than that, you can see here a lot of our multimedia projects where, again, young people are championing these projects from start to finish. And they are also the audience and the consumers of all our multimedia products. And again, this gives them the skills they need in terms of, again, creating all of these assets. And again, this process makes them truly digitally savvy, right? It teaches them about social media marketing. It teaches them about, again, graphic design. And a lot of these skills will be very useful for these young people, especially when they enter the workplace or they go into university. Again, these are all skills that they could use on a day-to-day basis to really actively campaign for social change. We have here some of the events we did, inviting speakers, be it debate programs, or model United Nations conferences. Again, a lot of simulative environments for young people to practice their skills. And this is a special event we did around a year back, where we convened 20 of Hong Kong's most inspiring and leading young change makers and their organizations for a day of sharing, of best practices, of collaboration, and also of troubleshooting. So as a community, we shared about some of the pain points we had and the solutions that we've devised. And in that space, we're able to build so many partnerships and collaboration, but also build the bonds that are needed in order to help advance this ecosystem of young people creating change. So that was a very fruitful event. So for the purposes of ISSIA, our future plans is really to expand our footprint internationally, right? We want to really bring this idea of peer-to-peer and project-based learning to more and more people. Of course, we also want to work more with schools to help co-create programs to help deliver this idea of, peer-to-peer project-based learning to schools and their curriculums. And we want to continually build an ecosystem of young change makers, essentially young people doing good. But at the same time, we're also really looking to explore different delivery mechanisms for this idea of peer-to-peer project-based learning, such as be it virtual reality, be it for games. We really want to champion this idea. So my call to action here is really, we want to partner and co-create programs, solutions, campaigns, and any ideas you have. Again, because to achieve the SDGs, we need all hands on deck, and we really need to work together. But more broadly, I also want to talk about then, zooming out, this broader trend and phenomenon of young people creating change, right? And I call this a generation of change makers. So I attribute this to various reasons. One is that with COVID, we've also seen a rapid rise of technology and digital connectivity tools. So be it platforms like Zoom that allow us to convene seamlessly around the world, be it through the advanced features of different social media platforms that allow us to create and share content. We've seen that, especially in this media space, more and more young people are finding the barriers to entry being reduced to virtually none. We see that in this environment like COVID, more and more young people are taking positive risks in terms of building out and trying out new ideas in terms of solutions and innovations for the Sustainable Development Goals. We think that for young people, it is generally a low-risk endeavor, whereby a lot of these social change initiatives don't have to involve high amounts of capital investment. And a lot of the times, the investment is simply manpower and time. And as a result, we're able to really rapidly prototype different solutions, campaigns, and advocacy, and of course, iterate along the way. So this is along the media side. But we've also seen young people really going above and beyond and leveraging technologies and innovations, be it for AI, carbon capture technologies, and more, to again advance the Sustainable Development Goals, because we think that young people nowadays are very, very inclined as a sort of a Generation Z, as they call it, to use their skills and talents for the social good. So all of these amazing young people are asking for help from mentors, building partnerships with global stakeholders, and figuring out the best practices without years and years of experience, because they have the passion, they have the initiative to be able to reach out and learn. And as a result, we've seen young people do amazing things in this space. And I think this points to this decentralization of change making, whereby change making is not just now reserved to those who have immense access to capital or privilege, nor is it now constrained to top-down sort of social change, nor do you have to have many, many years of experience. In our new world, in a world that's rapidly changing, now everyone can be a change maker, meaning everyone can create change in their communities, no matter how small. And one thing I like to emphasize is that there are so many different ladders of participation, right? Be it through simply supporting a cause, volunteering, to devising an innovative solution. All of these ladders are equally valuable. And so I see that all these different case studies that you see online or in person of young people creating change is just testament to how, again, everyone can be a change maker. So I think what's more important, therefore, is figuring out what are the next steps. So what now, given that we know that young people are more powerful than ever, right? And I think that there is still work to be done. So I think that in this ecosystem, young people still face a lot of challenges in scaling and launching their own social change initiatives, for example. Speaking of personal experience, a lot of times it's still difficult to get funding, to get capital, of course, but also at the same time, it is still sometimes difficult to gain legitimacy in terms of interacting and engaging with these global stakeholders. At the same time, young people also face a difficult barrier in terms of scaling their initiative and taking it to the next level. So a lot of young people leverage easily accessible tools like digital media and social media, of course, but it is been, I think, very difficult for young people to figure out how do we move this online community, let's say created from COVID, into this in-person convening of young people, for example. And so that is a challenge. And along that same line of thought, it is also very difficult for young people to turn these social change initiatives into sustainable business ventures and sort of social enterprises, because there often is a difficulty in envisioning or executing a business model. So I think it'll be great if more allies in the world can support these young people and help take their initiatives to the next level so that they can, again, advance sustainable impact. And one thing, and one of my favorite quotes is this idea where the whole is more than the sum of its parts, meaning that, you know, we can do so much more as a collective. And this idea of partnerships and collaborations leads to synergy, again, where we can do so much more when we work together. So my call to action here is look out for young people in your community who are looking to do good and figure out, you know, how can you support them? You know, how can you offer some advice or guidance? How can you help them connect the dots, you know? And how can you support them as change makers, and how you can be a change maker yourself? So that's about it for me. I hope you had a bit of a taster in terms of what some innovation for the Sustainable Development Goals look like and what young people are doing to advance the SDGs more broadly. So if you want to learn more about my initiative, ISSIA HK, you can find us on issiahk.org. And of course, feel free to contact me anytime. Thank you so much for having me here today.